What is up, guys? JT Anime and Nerd here, bringing you all that nerdy goodness. Today we continue on with Fantasia Adventures with episode 02. Ooh. Uh, I recommend you watch episode 1 before watching this, but with all that said, let's get it into the episode. Deep in uncharted null space, warped dark matter awaits on the barren planet, seemingly for something involving the call he made earlier. Suddenly, a giant purple ship known as Zerg's Dreadnought lands in front of Warp. A hatch opens from under the ship as none other than the evil Emperor Zerg appears in his complete visage.
Well, what could possibly be so important that I have to come all the way to null space to fetch you? And you'd best not be wasting my time, Warp, because my time is valuable. And do you know what happens when my time is wasted?
I can take a guess.
I vaporize them. Now you better have a good reason why I wouldn't blast you.
Zerg notices a green glow coming from the emerald orb in Warp's mechanical hand. Is that reason enough? It's reacting to something on this planet.
Well then, what are we standing around for? Just what?
Just watch for a sec. Warp shows how the emerald orb glows when pointed in a certain direction, whilst also showing that the glow disappears when aimed at a different direction. Getting it now?
I'm getting tired of your condescendence. Hornets!
Suddenly, a small unit of Zerg's Hornet robots flies out of his dreadnought, ready to serve their evil emperor.
Follow suit! We're going on a little adventure. Move out!
Zerg, Warp, and the Hornets follow the direction of the emerald orb, which gets brighter as it's closer to the direction it's glowing in. Meanwhile, back at Montresor, Jack and Stitch are back in Jack's bedroom, nearly out of breath from running, with Jack showing an immense expression of great fear and shock.
We got lucky, didn't we?
Ugh, he would have been killed. A flashback then shows Jack and Stitch looking from behind a rock at Maleficent, surrounded by a group of little monsters that she refers to as her familiars. Be ready, my servants, for on this day the familiars stand around the horned woman in glee as she looks down at them with her back turned. Maleficent has returned! Jack and Stitch look upon Maleficent in shock, almost feeling like they're in a nightmare. Just as Jack was about to seemingly say something, Stitch immediately put his hand around Jack's mouth to ensure that he'd be quiet, almost as if it was an instinctive survival technique, only making Jack even more nervous as he looks back at Maleficent. Sensing something, Maleficent looked back, only to see nothing but rock, not knowing that Jack and Stitch are hiding behind it, with Stitch's hands still over Jack's mouth. Hmm. Maleficent then looks back in the opposite direction. It appears being sealed away for so long has disoriented me. It appears I'll be up all night summoning an army of familiars. The groups of Maleficent's familiars begin to murmur, upset at the fact that they can't cause any trouble at the moment. Fear not, my familiars. It appears we'll have to begin at phase 1. We will find our way back to our homeland, but until then, we shall conquer this land for ourselves. The sound of these words causes Jack's eyes to dilate, realizing what they mean. Maleficent then closes her eyes and begins to radiate a green aura around her for a few seconds, causing the wind to hover around her for a bit. Maleficent then reopens her eyes. The clairvoyance costs me greatly, but I shall recover with time. I sense life within a town not too far from here. It's there we shall begin our conquest. Jack gasped silently, still having Stitch's hand around his mouth, and beginning to sweat in fear. Oh yes, and there are 2 intrusive bugs behind that stone. Kill them. Just as Maleficent's familiars charge at the rock the 2 who were hiding behind, Stitch grabs Jack with a tight grip and uses all of his strength to jump at an extreme speed far away enough to escape, and continues to jump forward with every landing. The familiars attempt to pursue the duo. Enough! The familiars look back at Maleficent, stunned at her orders. Whoever they are, we will deal with them in due time. For now I must summon an army, and in the morn We shall enslave all who submit and kill all who resist. Back in the present, Jack looks down in frustration, not knowing how to take all of what's happened in. Jack then looks at Excalibur in his hand, raises it up to try and slam it to the ground. However, he's too hesitant, not wanting to wake anyone up and have to explain something this crazy to them. Craters! Jack then throws Excalibur flat on his bed, letting it land softly so it doesn't make any loud noise. Jack then crouches in the fetal position, not knowing what to do. What do I do, Stitch? Warn them? They'd never believe us. It's all too crazy. Stitch looks down at Jack, saddened at his friend's state. Maybe I could tell Jim, but even that's a stretch. Even if he took me seriously, neither the Terran Empire nor Star Command would even take this seriously. It's too hard to believe. We're on our own, with no one to protect Benbow. Stitch then shows an expression of slight irritation. Nada! Stitch then walked to Jack's front, being able to make eye contact with him as he continues to speak. Benbow, Ohana. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Stitch's words stunned Jack, as it was almost as if Jack had forgotten why he's trained so hard. Jack leave Benbow behind? Jack not defender of Benbow? Jack's eyes begin to dilate in positive response to Stitch's words. Witch said, sword pick Jack. Jack free Witch, so Jack responsible for stopping Witch. And Stitch stand by Jack till end. Like promise we made when in meet. A flashback then shows a young Jack helping Stitch up from the ground. We'll fight and protect Montressor together from now on. We'll fight for a universe where everyone can smile. That's both our dreams now. We'll stick together to the end, no matter what. Stitch then reaches out to grab Jack's hand. Ugh, the younger Stitch said. Back in the present, Jack smiles and then stands up, motivated by Stitch's words. Jack then wipes his eyes, as they were just about to shed slight tears. Thanks, pal. I needed that. Jack then walks to his bed and picks up Excalibur. I know too well what it's like to be helpless. A slight flashback shows Kid Jack in the middle of his hometown in Montressor, surrounded by broken and flaming debris and houses, as as Kid Jack is crying in the middle of it all. And no doubt, Montressor knows what that's like too. Back in the present, determination is shown in Jack's eyes. Get ready, Stitch. Stitch smiles in anticipation for Jack's next words. We're gonna spend the whole night training. Jack smiles himself, confident of his plan. And in the morning, we're gonna take this Maleficent down. Meanwhile, on the barren planet, Zurg, Warp, and the Hornets arrive at a large cave, as the emerald warp hold shines its brightest when aimed at the cave. Of course, big creepy cave, creepy barren planet, what else can happen?
Quit complaining, you half-wit, and keep moving. I've got a soap opera to get to back home, or when I need to find out if Julio will marry Maria.
Zurg and company continue on, heading into the cave and using the glowing orb as a flashlight. You realize we could get lost down here, right?
I've got a tracer linked to my dreadnought. A digital trail is being made as we walk. We should be able to exit the cave with no problem. Now shut it!
After walking through the cave, the group finally finds the end of it, only to be greeted by a gruesome sight, even shocking Zurg of all people. The group comes to find what appear to be rows of skeletons on the ground, while the light of the emerald orb shines on what appears to be a bronze staff set on an altar. What in the galaxy happened here?
Such death and decay. Oh, I'm jealous. From the looks of it, this was an altar to worship some sort of god.
Warp then shines the orb's light on the altar. You think that's the scary god they worship? Warp and Zurg look on to see an etching of what appears to be a black dragon with green eyes etched above the altar. You think it's got something to... Suddenly, the green orb flies out of Warp's hands. Hey! The emerald orb then connects itself to the top of the staff, causing green flames to illuminate and trace the lines of the etching above the altar. As if by magic, the staff levitates and stands itself up vertically as the etching on the wall begins to crack, followed by it breaking and revealing a short yellow-haired boy with horns, what appears to be talons for claws and feet. Below the boy's waist were pants made from physical dark shadowy aura with claws at the end of his toenails, while his torso exposes his muscular physique. His arms also show to be covered in this shadowy aura, as well as claws protruding from his neck and where his fingernails should be. The boy's eyes open, showing a serious expression on his face, with the pupils of his eyes being shown to be something more than human. Warp and Zerg look in surprise as the boy jumps down from his stone prison, revealing a scaly and lizard-like tail behind him. The boy then takes hold of the staff and looks on at Zerg and Warp, as a crow then flies onto the boy's shoulder. Are you the ones who brought out the orb and freed me from my slumber? Warp begins to mumble, fearful of the boy in front of him.
You are correct. It is we who awakened you, though had no prior knowledge to what the orb truly was.
Warp looks at Zerg in complete shock, beginning to talk in his head. Am I going nuts? Or did Zerg actually sound respectful?
Now then, I'm sure you have your own questions, but so do I. Am I to assume that staff is an artifice?
Not that I'm inclined to tell you, but yes, it is. Artifice.
A mystical item tethered to its wielder, though I highly doubt that you're the type to wield a staff, considering your physique is that of a warrior, not a spellcaster.
Once again, you're correct. How do you know this stuff?
When you come from a family of evil overlords, you learn a thing or two about ancient knowledge.
Of course I have questions, but I can kind of get a sense of what's going on. Although, the yellow-haired boy looks directly at Warp's mechanical arm, and then Zerg, scanning his robotic visage. It seems that I've been sealed away longer than I thought it would be.
Tell me, boy.
The yellow-haired boy continues to look at Zerg and Warp with a serious expression.
What is your name?
Hours later on Crescentia, the Space Rangers successfully evacuate the last of the citizens via Star Cruiser, leaving the remaining people on the planet to be only those affiliated with Star Command. On a rooftop, Buzz is sitting down, awaiting Zerg's arrival. Mira then phases up through the building Buzz is sitting on and sits next to him. You know, you can glare at that spot all day. It's not gonna make Zerg get here any faster. Buzz sighs for a moment. You know, for years I've dreamt of finally bringing Zerg to justice. But everything about this just feels wrong. I know. We basically kicked people out of their homes. All at the command of the Galactic Alliance. The question is why? Over some stupid jewel? Suddenly, XR pops up from behind Buzz and Mira, while Booster walks up behind them. Actually, according to my data, there's no knowledge on that thing. What are you talking about? It was displayed at the Museum of Natural History on Capital Planet. You can't just display something and not know what it is. Well, according to the display description, the jewel was said to have been found on a jungle planet within the Alpha Quadrant, but something didn't seem right. So I did a little extra digging and found that the Galactic Alliance hired a fellow named Argak Gallon. And I know him. He's in prison for illegal forging, which means the description is a forgery. None of it's true. That only begs the question. And where did the orb come from? Change of plans, team. You guys need to head into the Galactic Archives, see what you can find. But Buzz, what about you? Our orders are for all Space Rangers to be in attendance for when Zerg arrives. Nearly every other Ranger's here, Booster. I'll be alright. The team looks at each other, and Mira sighs in slight frustration. Okay, I know better than to argue with you. Just be safe. Mira and the team leave, heading to Capital Planet as soon as possible. Can't make promises I can't keep, guys. The next day on Montresor, a ship arrives at the Benbow Inn. From the ship exits an alien man and woman with 3 kids. Sarah is standing outside the front door of the Benbow Inn, waiting to greet the group. Delbert! Amelia! Sarah hugs Amelia and then Delbert. Oh, Sarah, it's good to see you again.
You have no idea how happy we are to hear about Jim's promotion. Speak of the devil!
Hey, Delbert. Delbert? Jim said as Delbert hugs him.
Congratulations, my boy. Becoming a commander is no small feat.
You can say that again, and you have my salute, young cadet. Suddenly, Amelia and Delbert's three daughters run up to Sarah and Jim. Matey, Jim, Tilly! Oh, give Auntie and Uncle Jim a hug. Matey, Jib, and Tilly hug Sarah and Jim in a wholesome way. Auntie Sarah! Uncle Jim! Said the three sisters simultaneously. Now then, where's little Sonny? Amelia, Delbert, Matey, Jib, and Tilly look around for Sonny, but to no avail. Tilly sighs for a moment. Looks like little brother ran off again. Sarah then notices is that she heard footsteps go around to the back of the house. Oh, I think I know where he's headed. Meanwhile, behind the Benbow Inn, Sonny attempts to climb up the back of the Benbow Inn as well as enter Jack's room through his window. Hey, Jack! I finished my new portable solar sailor. We can finally test it out, huh? Sonny looks around, with Jack nowhere to be seen. Must be in the wastelands again. Guess that old prototype I gave him still works. I'd better go and look for him before Aunt Sarah pitches a fit. Sonny then opens his portable solar sailor and jets off into the wastelands. In the dining room of the Benbow Inn, Sarah looks up to the stairs leading to Jack's room. Jack! Sonny! It's time to come down! The party's starting! After a few moments, Sarah and Amelia get frustrated from the silence. Jack! Sonny Doppler, you get down here this minute. That's an order. Back in Jack's bedroom, Sarah and Amelia enter, only to find no one there, except for Jack's window being open. Sarah grunts for a moment in anger. Not today. And by the looks of it, Sonny must be with him. Should we pursue? Nope. Sarah turns around to face the opposite of Jack's room with a sinister grin on her face, her eyebrow twitching in frustration. I want the boys to fear what's waiting for them back and when they get home. Sarah then walks back into the hallway with a smiling Amelia following behind. Most enjoyable words I've heard all day. Meanwhile, in the wastelands of Montresor, Maleficent is sitting on a throne molded from a rock formation in the middle of the wastelands, while also being surrounded by her familiars. One pig familiar walks up to Maleficent in slight fear.
Are you okay, my mistress?
Yes. Without my artifice, I've expended more mana than I cared to. Maleficent then stands up from her molded stone throne. But now that I've had ample time to recover through the night, I need not expend any more on familiars such as you, for my army is finally complete. Hear me, my army! Maleficent points in the direction of Benbow. Let us charge upon the nearby town and conquer it! This land shall be mine for the taking! Press on, my familiars! With sinister smiling grins on their faces, Maleficent's army of familiars begin running in the direction of the Benbow Inn, and the town it was surrounded by. Back on Crescentia, Space Rangers are walking and flying around to keep an eye out for Zurg, with Commander Nebula looking at his wrist communicator, checking how long it's been since they've been there. Buzz then flies down behind Nebula. Sir, permission to speak.
Granted, Lightyear, as long as it's something that's not gonna agitate me.
I'm afraid it might be, sir. Aren't you the least suspicious about all this?
Buzz, all I know is we got orders from the very top, and you know there's no arguing with the Galactic Alliance.
You can't fool me, sir. Even I know you have a habit of going over the Galactic Alliance's head. Or need I remind you of Shiv Katal? Nebula sighs for a moment, realizing he's lost this argument.
Nothing gets past you, does it, Lightyear?
Not in the least, sir.
All right, I admit it. I just couldn't leave it alone. I was skeptical about this as you are, but before I gave you that briefing, I was approached by someone within the Galactic Alliance, worried about the whole thing. I can't reveal their identity, but I at least have someone on the inside. The truth about that orb is...
Suddenly, The foundation of Crescentia begins to vibrate as the Space Rangers throughout the spaceport town look around in confusion. Just then, a mystical green portal appears where Zurg was meant to come from, catching the Space Rangers off guard. From the portal appeared Zurg's dreadnought, along with multiple fighter ships and Hornets. Buzz and Nebula look up in shock, as it seems that despite their calculations, Zurg's gotten the drop on them.
That's impossible!
Nebula then opens his wrist communicator to speak to all Rangers on Crescentia.
All Rangers, you are ordered to launch a full-scale assault! Dead or alive, just bring Zurg down once and for all!
Buzz then attempts to try and head for Zurg's ship. It's gotta be me, sir. Nebula stops us from walking any more forward. No, Buzz! Nebula then grabs Buzz's left arm and opens his wrist communicator. Nebula then types into his communicator, seemingly sending Buzz data through their communicators. I need you to take this data. Whatever happens, don't let anyone, not even the Galactic Alliance, get a hold of it. But Commander, don't worry, Lightyear. I'm gonna have you be in charge of the men down here. Leave the skies to me. Commander Nebula then closes Buzz's wrist communicator. I've been itching to settle my scores with Zurg. I'm counting on you. Nebula then flies off to handle the attacks from the sky. You'd better come back alive, Commander. Suddenly, a blast from a Hornet goes past the front of Buzz's face, catching his attention. Buzz then reacts by blasting the Hornet with his laser, destroying it. A group of Hornets then surround Buzz, much to his surprise. The Hornets are then blasted by a Ranger that appears to be Tangean like Miranova, and human like Buzz. Crockett! Doppler!
You're the best we've got, Buzz. We've got your back. Let's give Zurg a wallop, shall we, gentlemen?
Rocket and Fop split up from Buzz, just as Buzz flies off to deal with the other Hornets. Meanwhile, within Zurg's dreadnought, Zurg, Warp, and the yellow-haired boy look at the main monitor, watching the all-out war going on in Crescentia.
Oh my! That portal spell you casted was brilliant, my young lad. Soon Star Command and its Space Rangers will be no more!
As Zurg begins to laugh in delight, the yellow-haired boy then attempts to hand Warp the staff he's been holding. Here, get this to my mistress on Montresor. But I'm not the owner, so how can I even hold it? The yellow-haired boy then enchants the staff, enwrapping it in an aura of dark magic until the aura dissipates, finishing the enchantment. I placed a temporary release on it. You should be able to hold it, even wield its power for about 5 hours. But not all of its power will be granted to you, so don't get any ideas. You're not coming? The yellow-haired boy then jumps up on a beam on the ceiling from within the dreadnought. The future is an enigma to me, as is its evolution in warfare. The yellow-haired boy sits down with the Raven accompanying him landing on his shoulder and handing the boy an alien fruit, continuing to watch the battle shown on the main monitor. So I intend to analyze it. Well, I'll be cutting it pretty close, since I've only got 5 hours to get to Montresor from Crescentia. I'll rendezvous with you on Montresor once I sense that my mistress has been reawakened. The yellow-haired boy then takes a bite out of the alien fruit, with its juices trickling down his mouth. Warp begins to walk away in order to make his way from Montresor. Zurg, what about Lightyear?
I've been waiting years to finally bring Lightyear down. So should he try to and stop you, make sure he has plenty of life for me to take.
Warp begins walking away from the main room of the dreadnought. By your command. Warp shows a sinister grin on his face, excited at the thought of Buzz's demise. My evil emperor. Meanwhile, back on Montresor, Sarah and company continue to worry for the boys. Sarah sighs in frustration.
Of all the days to be out, why aren't the boys back yet? Fret not, Sarah. The boys are strong, and survived the wasteland plenty of times. I've contacted the authorities. Patrols are scouring the wastelands as we speak.
The sound of fast-paced footsteps can be heard coming down the stairs. Jim then stops midway, coming into view of the others, and is nearly out of breath from the run, while also showing a worried expression on his face. Our plasma muskets. 4 of them. They're all missing. The news causes expressions of worry on everyone's face, including Sarah, who stands up in shock at what she's just heard. In the wastelands of Montresor, Sunny searches the wasteland ends for Jack, frustrated at no sign of him.
Oh man, just where are you, Jack?
Suddenly, Sunny notices it is a huge mass of moving people running across the wastelands. Sunny rides his portable solar sailor down to get a closer look. Sunny lands on a rock formation high up to a point where it would be hard for the crowd of people to notice him. As Sunny crouches down at the edge of the rock formation to get a better look at the crowd, his expression turns into one of fear, as he sees that the crowd of people are not the kind of creatures he expected, as what he saw was an army of Maleficent's familiars running toward Bembo. Maleficent's familiars continue to run toward Bembo, which was in plain view from where they were, as Maleficent is being carried at the center of the crowd by a large group of her familiars.
Press on, my familiars! Press on and claim my first victory in eons!
Sunny looks down in horror at what he's just heard.
No way! They're heading for Benbow? If what I just heard is true.
Maleficent's familiars to continue to run toward Benbow with sinister smiles on their face.
Benbow doesn't stand a chance!
As the familiars are running toward the town of Benbow, something lands in front of the army, creating a loud crashing sound and also generating a large puff of smoke, stopping the army in its tracks. Maleficent shows an expression of shock, wondering what would have happened up ahead. The familiars let Maleficent down as she attempts to float up to the smoke and investigate the interruption. With a wave of her hand, the smoke clears to reveal Excalibur stabbed into the ground. Maleficent looks up and shows a surprised expression. Confused, Sunny looks up in the direction Maleficent is looking at, only to show an expression of shock. As a duo riding a portable solar sailor lands in front of Excalibur. The duo is revealed to be Jack and Stitch, with Jack pulling Excalibur out of the ground now that he and Stitch have Maleficent's attention. From the top of the rock formation, Sunny looks down at his friends with an expression of shock on his face.
Jack? Stitch? What are they doing here?
Maleficent steps forward and looks directly at the blade that Jack is holding in his right hand.
You're the pests from last night.
Pretty much.
That sword, no doubt is Excalibur, although why I once again chose a mere boy I'll never understand.
Again?
It matters not. You will surrender the sword to me, or suffer the consequences.
Jack smiles in response to Maleficent's words. You should know. Jack then points to Excalibur directly at Maleficent. I was never one for authority. Maleficent scoffs at what she believes is false bravery.
You were wise to run like the insect you are yesterday. How disappointing to find that wisdom discarded today. Front line, retrieve the sword! Kill them both!
The familiars in the front line of the army charge at Jack and Stitch with sinister grins on their face, but would be greeted in response by a smile from Jack. With one swing from Excalibur, Maleficent, Sunny, and even the remaining front-line familiars look in shock as Jack sliced a quarter of the front-line familiars in two, with the bodies of the familiars releasing dark magical energy in place of what would have normally been blood. For PG purposes, it's Disney after all. As the seemingly lifeless bodies of the familiars fall to the ground, they then disappear in a dissipating shroud out of dark magical energy. Jack then holds up the blade of the sword over his shoulder, showing a confident smile in order to spite Maleficent. Sunny's mind continues to wander as he looks in awe at what he's just witnessed.
No way! What just happened? Did Jack just kill those guys? And on top of that, they disappeared like phantoms. I know the universe is vast and mysterious. Am I really witnessing what goes against everything I believe? I'm a man of science and logic like my father. But am I really witnessing the existence of magic? How? How is this possible? You've only wielded that blade for one whole cycle of day. There's no possible way you could have mastered the blade in such little time.
You're not wrong. It took a whole night without any sleep. Jack tightly grips the hilt of Excalibur. Like every day, I trained as hard as I could to hone my skills. It's no different with this sword. Its sharpness, durability, stamina, attack, defense, and every other piece of this blade's physicality I've trained to the bone in just one night. But it doesn't compare to what I put my body through every day. Combined with that, there's no opponent I can't beat. Maleficent chuckles for a moment. Such delusional pride! I shall rip it from you piece by piece. My familiars, wipe out these pests and bring me Excalibur! As the familiars slowly approach the duo, Jack smiles as he pulls out four plasma muskets tied together with thin string, confusing Maleficent and her familiars. Sunny looks down at what is happening. Are those plasma muskets? Jack then throws the set of plasma muskets high up, leading Stitch to jump after them. Stitch then grabs the individual muskets with all four of his hands, ripping the strings apart, granting him a set of familiar weapons. Fudogo! Stitch then dives down and spins at superhuman speed, firing the plasma muskets, creating a hailstorm of plasma blasts. The plasma blasts destroy many familiars, all the way to where Maleficent is standing. Stitch then lands back next to Jack as the wind created by his landing creates a wave of wind that begins to clear some of the smoke formed by his plasma blasts. As the smoke slowly clears, it's shown that the whole of Maleficent's front lines, as well as some of the middle line, have been destroyed. Sunny shows a more extreme expression of shock, in awe of what Jack and Stitch have just done.
I had no idea they've gotten this strong. It's incredible!
As the smoke clears, Jack and Stitch witness the remnants of Maleficent's army, as well as Maleficent herself, who's just protected herself with a barrier of dark magic. Jack and Stitch look on with smiling expressions. You've certainly invoked my fury this day. So, from here on out, Maleficent releases her barriers and looks up at the duo with a sinister and deranged smile on her face. You shall know the forefront of my wrath. To be continued. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and put down in the comments section below with your thoughts on this video. Also, check out my new merch store on Etsy.com, linked in the description and in below and in the comment below as well. With all that said and done, I'm JT Anime, and I'll check you guys later.